Hello all, this is the lesson number 40 of this VariCAD training, and this lesson is called Constraints in Solid Creation. This will be the last lesson for the topic of constraints, and this is a different approach to how to work with the constraints. For that I will build a very simple solid starting from the 2D side. So we'll go to the 2D. I will make a rectangle, as you know, it is quite simple, and I will make a fillet in any of the corners. It's not very important. For example, it can be 20, no big issues. And now I will make the command extrude to create a solid. I will give it a little more on this height. Select the profiles, okay, select these ones, and insertion point can be here. So now just give the OK and the solid is created. So in the previous lessons we've seen a couple of methods to work with the constraints in solids, but there is one more, and this method makes constraints on the 2D profiles. For sure that if you make this kind of operation like I've done it, an extrude for example, if you affect the initial profile, 2D profile, then you will affect the resulting solid, and that is the approach I want to show you. So I have my solid and I want to deal with constraints here. So I will make the addition of the solid, and because it was a solid that had his origin in the 2D, so when we try to edit, okay, we will go immediately to the 2D side. You know already that the addition can be made here with all the 2D methods. It is something that we've seen in some of the past lessons, but now what I want to show you is this icon here, that is the define constraints or parameters on the 2D creation. So I click here and I get a different toolbar with a lot of options, and this is what I want to show you, because now you see that in my profile I have all the vertices of the profile are highlighted and can be selected for the addition. So let us make a couple of very easy examples. For example, I have this kind of addition. On the x-axis I have two possibilities, and the same for the y. And the difference is this is a constraint regarding the origin, the coordinate system origin, and this is regarding another object, and the same for the other axis. So for example, if I try to make a constraint regarding the coordinate center, I select my vertex here, do the OK, and I get a box where I can give the number, the value that I want, if it is positive or negative, that it's constrained. So I'll try to select here and say 10, and the vertex is differently shown on the screen. So now I can go here, for example, and say on a different way. I can say constraint to another object. For example, I can select this here, and it's enough. And the anchor point, it will be this guy here, and it tells me that the difference is this value here, that I can increase a little for 60, and you see again that all the profile was changed. So this is the concept, okay? What you do here, even that you don't have a tree or something where you can see all these measures by default, like in what you can call traditional programs, this is constrained and recognized by the software. And in my particular opinion, this is one of the big advantages of the software, because even that we have this possibility to constrain everything from what we've seen previously and on this lesson, this is very free. We don't have dozens of obligations to have everything very closed, very parameterized to work with these things. So it's quite easy to work with these commands. We have a couple of possibilities, like for example the chamfer this and that we don't have here. We could have one. I don't have it. I don't think it's too much important. I can make the same for the radius, for example this radius, and if I say 15 for example, it will constrain it also. I can have some of the icons, due to the type of entities I have here, are not possible to select, but it's quite easy. This is a constraint for the arcs, but I think the fillet or this radius here, it's more convenient in my opinion. Besides, we can have an addition of the existing constraints. For example, I can select this, and again I have this information which I can change. I have the possibility to delete the existing constraints and display information of what is constrained in this profile also, okay? Besides, I can make a check, for example this kind of check, radius for example this, okay? These are basic informations that you are aware. This is a possibility to make thick or thin lines on the profile to be more easy to recognize what is the profile and what are the 3D entities, even that they are graded. This is the possibility to work with a solid or wireframe mode, so no big deal. And this is the leave this mode without changing what we are doing, or the possibility to make the OK and change the height of the solid or use a draft angle, whatever you want. I will not make any of these additions. Profile, and you see that the profile is different. Do the OK and everything is changed. Okay, this is a possibility, a very nice possibility to constrain an area that we did not see it until now. Okay. We can make another nice example, and I will start another part from scratch. Again, on the 2D side, just make a simple circle. I can make, not this one, I can make a group of holes, for example, make a couple of them more. So circle center, I'll make this kind of thing. Okay, and again do an extrude, the same, and this with these holes, and insertion point, it can be in the middle, and I have my solid. Okay, if I try to do the same edition of the basic profile, okay, it's something that you already know, and do the constraint of the profile. Okay, we have a couple of other possibilities, like this guy here, that work in terms of radial constraint. And one is this possibility to make a constraint regarding the origin, and I can say select me one or two of the vertex, whatever I want, and say OK. Something was wrong, sorry, let us try to do again. So constraints, some mistake from my side. Let us start, for example, sorry, it was a mistake. This is the possibility to do the constraint regarding the origin, and this is to another object. So again, I can select one, for example, do the OK with a right click and say regarding the coordinate in terms of the coordinate system in terms of the radial distance, I can say, for example, 45, okay, and do OK. I did not talk to you about this. This is the possibility to select inside or outside in terms of the vertices. Okay, it's just a selection mode. So now I've changed this guy here. If I go and say OK, I can again change the height, and you see that one of the holes is pushed to the distance I've inserted inside the program. So do the OK and different. This is one of the possibilities. The other possibility is to, let's try to edit again, is to do this constraint, radial constraint, regarding another object. So for example, if I try to edit this one and considering the anchor point, this new guy here, just do the OK. Okay, some warnings. It's perfect. Okay, it was badly chosen again, so let us try to do again. Sorry. Again. So let's choose a different one. Enter. It's a click that I'm doing not so good. So now the anchor point, it can be this one here, and the distance is, for example, also 45, and change on this direction. Okay, now not to the coordinate system but to an object. So do the undo, and now I can do the OK. Profiles again. Now this one is changed, and I do the finish edition, and again it is pushed on the other direction. Okay, this is something that again we have, just to show you one more thing and how to connect this with the parameters. We've seen already that, for example, we can work with all the constraints inside the software, linking these constraints to the parameters. So for example, you know already, if you create one parameter and call it whatever you want, so if I say 45, create one and insert, and a new one that I will call the B, and I say 40, create, insert it. So you have the A, you have the B. So now you can connect these additions and these constraints to the parameters, and you can change the solid quite easily. So again, do this, okay. I can edit some of the constraints. For example, this one. I have 45, but I want this with a defined parameter that in case it will be the A. Okay, very good. And now just do the OK, whatever. Okay, perfect. Now if I want to edit this, it's a little more easy because now I have the parameters, and if I want to edit, I just push the other one, and the addition, it is done, linked to the parameters, and OK. So this is another possibility. I think it's quite interesting for you to explore these options. These were very easy examples for your understanding of the possibilities. But if you use all the range of tools you have with the constraints that we've shown you in these lessons, I think you will understand also that VariCAD has a very powerful set of tools. And again, in my personal opinion, the best thing is not the constraints as a tool, but the freedom you have to deal with this. In all the softwares I know, all the big names in the market, you have a lot of restrictions, a lot of rules to follow, and you have in VariCAD everything is freedom. So this is, in my point of view, the best thing we have inside this cheap and easy program to work with. Okay, so I hope this lesson is understood by everybody. So I hope to see you in my next lesson of this training course.